Hey everyone, this is Jerome Bettis from Detroit with your Spirit Lake Fantasy Football Recap, sponsored by WAOK and Captain Morgan. We'll start as usual with our assessment of the Vikings, who have played 4 really good quarters of football thus far this year. Unfortunately, they've been the first halves, and we're now 0-2. Is Leslie Frazier watch on already because it has been pathetic how much we've been destroyed in the second half of the season. Now let's go around the NFL. Big story, obviously Jamal Charles blew out his knee, done for the season. Big hit for Panda. Lions and Bills are 2-0. Lions look legit. The roar has been restored, common. The Jags and the Seahawks QB situation is unbelievably terrible. The Jags somehow had a quarterback with a rating of 1.5 this weekend, throwing 4 picks, and Seattle's is even worse because they have Tavares Jackson. And Tony Romo somehow gets the respect of his teammates this weekend after breaking a rib, puncturing his lung, coming back in the third quarter, and leading his team to victory. Now let's go pontooning. Pontooning is our weekly look around the league of Spirit Lake. Game 1, Jayco versus Miller. Jayco wins despite leaving 18.5 points and Mr. Fred Jackson and Shanasty on the bench. Gronk and Blunt's ridiculous second half takes him to a win over the Sunshine Express. AJ versus Haas. Haas had our first Ben Miller Memorial starting a player who did not play with Dez Bryant. I did look at his roster. At least I'm giving him some leeway as he was the only one with a late game and he was a fairly late scratch, even though it was widely reported he probably wasn't going to play. VJax blows up in this win for AJ. However, it truly is a loss for AJ losing his #1 pick. BP versus Dylan. Brady blows up again, who's thrown for 1,000,000,000 yards in 2 weeks. However, BP grabs a win with the surprisingly strong Lions D and a good enough effort from Ahmad Bradshaw to give him the W. Game 4 is the snake bite, which will usually be our last one that we talk about, but we'll get into why it is in the last one a little bit. Rogers, Best, and Wallace for Davey does very well, just not good enough to stack up to the trio of Breeze, Darren McFadden, and Fitzgerald for the Gilfs. Silky Squad goes to 2-0. And finally, the reason why Brad's team is game number 5. We have a kitty pot alert. BZ goes for 49.5 points from his receivers alone and ends up with 110.6, the second most points in Spirit Lake history. Only 14.5 points on the bench, so we'll see what happens when the bye weeks come around, but kudos to Brad for that. The only other update we have right now is the Stepdad versus Gentleman individual rivalry. Stepdads go to 2-0, which normally have rough starts, but it looks like the Stepdads get to start early. Other than that, we'll keep it short this week. And as I mentioned, this is Jerome Bettis signing off Detroit for WAOK and Captain Morgan. And this was your Spirit Lake Fantasy Football Recap.